Guys, I got to tell you, a few things came at me fast. Let me throw them back to you guys real fast. So, allegedly, Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield is back on. Now, this is silliness at the highest of levels, and you would always hope that the participant, Mike Tyson in this matter, would understand what's going on. Now, that's a very hard assumption to make that a boxer is going to understand what's going on. It's very hard. But Mike watches this, so Mike, let me give you a message, okay, with everybody else. And I mean this with all due respect to what you're doing. This isn't real. Nobody's excited about seeing a couple of 53-year-olds that are mediocre at what they do. One of them who does drugs in front of the public on a daily basis, and the other one that's selling barbecue sauce and lost everything. In all fairness, we got behind you because there's a pandemic and we're starved for entertainment, and you were willing to box in a closed show with no audience and put it on some internet connection that somebody just started, in all fairness. And we were major supporters. We were behind it very much, but we were behind it very much as the audience, assuming that you knew what it was, which was us, your old fans of nostalgia, wanting to raise up our old heroes as a favor. If you and Evander are sitting down and you got, if any part of the story is the way that you're telling it, if you're just out there working and promoting, then God bless you. But if you got a team and Evander's got a team, you guys are trying to come together on a boxing match of which will not be sanctioned, thus making it not even a boxing match, it's just for fun exhibition, and you think this is serious or real, or that the fans are clamoring to see it, or you're holding any part of leverage, excuse me, this was charity that we did for you in the first place. I realize it did very good numbers when you and Roy did whatever it was you and Roy went and did, but that was charity. That was us showing charity, of which we're charitable and willing to do again, and probably even a time after that, in all fairness, but not if you try to turn the gun, not if you become unaware and think that you're going to go have a proper negotiation with some guy whose ear you bit off at a time before most of the viewers weren't even alive. This starts to get a little bit ridiculousness. It reminds me, I had a friend who's a very famous guy. He's a very overweight guy, and he wanted to lose the weight and bring that to the audience and go, time out. Here's what you're missing. The heavy person who gets his life on track and loses weight to meet a goal is very relatable by other people in that same spot. You're not in that spot. You're rich. You just chose to be lazy and follow bad habits to put yourself in this predicament in the first place. You are not going to relate to the everyman. And Mike, I bring you that example because it's very similar to what you're in right now. We were behind you and trying to raise you up as long as you were willing to get back in shape and find a worthy opponent and be out there as long as we saw the sacrifice. If you try to turn the gun and you start getting to be the diva where you and some other dinosaur who can't even get a proper license and therefore you have to skirt the rules and do it the way you're doing it, this is silly and you're going to lose us. The success of a thriller of a Tyson Jones or even a Tyson Holyfield does not lie on you and Jones, you and Thriller, or you and Holyfield. It lies solely on the fans banding together to help and thank somebody that was around in our youthful years. And if you miss that, if you think we need to see you box anybody or that we need to see you box Evander, or that's the only fight you and Evander, come on, man, you're being rude. You're being rude to the audience who just did a 1.7 million for you guys. Those are numbers you weren't doing back when you were doing this well. If you look at that and think I'm a bigger star now than I was then, you're missing what happened. What happened was people wanted to help. They were willing to kick in. This was a GoFundMe, except push it through the computer instead of going to the .com. Do not act like you're having a negotiation. Do not act like you're having problems. Do not flaunt these $25 million. Don't do any of this stuff. Because the fans that got you the 1.7 are going to go in a different direction. You can be the overweight guy who got himself back into shape and tell people that story as an inspiration so they can go do it too. You can't do it while being a multimillionaire. It's different. You're not one of us. You're not an everyman. You got to keep these concepts in mind. You did not give us great entertainment with Roy, and you aren't going to give us great entertainment or a media tour or anything meaningful with Evander. You're not even going to be licensed to do it. We out of nostalgia, are going to give to you two idiots.